Hello and welcome to My Left Ear. It's Monday, July 3rd, almost the 4th of July, and my name is Carrie Freeman. I am the writer, director, and producer of My Left Ear. This is a left-leaning YouTube channel with psychic commentary and runes, and sometimes there's a little humor. So when I'm not here doing this, and this began during the quarantine, and I got just enough followers to continue it. So here we are, 2.5 years later. When I'm not here, I do private sessions in person and Zoom. I do intuitive coaching, which is a person brings me their material and I'm able to coach and read and see the players and give information, and therapeutic hypnosis. And when I'm working with someone doing therapeutic hypnosis, much of the time the intuitive stuff kicks in and also helps my clients. It's sort of like a twofer. And I'm also an author, and I'm working on rewriting an old book and promoting a newer book. I also have a Patreon channel. And now enough about me, although I'd love you to subscribe and I'd love you to hit like. It really helps me. So here we go. I'm going to disseminate some news for the week and add some commentary and the runes. And it's for entertainment purposes only. So usually on Mondays, I do the weekly runes. It feels like an odd week. I'm not going to lie to you. I threw these runes and I went, oh, this is kind of a weird week. Could be astrology. It could be that there's a holiday, and we just came off of a very active, informative, somewhat disturbing week, some disturbing news. So I'm just going to go with it, and I'm going to close some intrusive things going on here. So I picked 3 runes for this week, and the first rune is the rune of separation in the reversed position. And it tells us we may be concerned over what appears to be failed communication, a lack of clarity or awareness, either in a past or a present situation. That could cover just a whole blanket of material, but I tend to think this may have to do with the investigations in Jack Smith. It says we may feel inhibited from accepting what is offered. That might be conversations between Jack Smith's team and grand jury testimony. They may be offering someone something for testimony and blah, blah, blah. It says, however, what is happening is timely. It's a cleaning out the old. And if you watch me enough, you see that my screen blows up, and I've yet to fix it because I don't want to be without a computer. So this is a time for cleaning out the old. And there are people that are testifying and flipping and so on and so forth. So that may be cleaning out the old, but it is timely. Whatever's going on this week, just know it's timely. And things change. Things always change. They go up, they go down. The good times don't last and the bad times don't last. I always say that, and it is so true. Then I got the rune of joy reversed, all right? So again, it says things are slow in coming to fruition. The process of birth is arduous, but that's good. Birth indicates a new beginning, but we may be in labor this week or even a little more. Fears may arise, and certainly from some of the things from last week, it's legitimate that fears may arise. I'm talking about the Supreme Court. A critical passage is at hand, and I want to go no blank, beginning with an S. Patience, clarity, perseverance are called for here. And see this as a test, whatever is this week. And like I said, it's going to be a weird week. Tomorrow's a holiday, and it's just kind of all a little off. a little wonky. And then I got the third rune was the rune of defense, avertive powers. And it tells us, as we are tested, we fund the powers to avert blockage and defeat. So it tells us a delay may prove beneficial, okay? Let's not get ahead of our skis, because things are going to speed up and they're going to slow down. They're going to speed up and they're going to slow down. And we just kind of have to get used to that ride for a little bit. Do not be overly eager to press forward. It is not a time or a situation in which we can make our influence felt, but that's just this week. Doesn't mean forever. Oh, and Petey's going to join us. Can you see him? Let me turn, because I know Pete. Hey, there's Pete. He's probably going to take a little bath and listen to me, because he likes to listen to me. Let me see if I can get him to come closer so he can hog the camera. So as we are tested, we fund the powers to avert blockage and defeat. A delay may prove beneficial. Do not be overly eager to press forward. Patience, okay? Patience. And no acting needy. This rune speaks of the difficulties that can arise at the beginning of new life. And we had the word rebirth before. So I really want you to kind of focus on that, because that's buried, but it's there. Rebirth, new life. This can be a time of waiting. Now, all these runes are saying the same thing. Chill, take a deep breath. Avert anticipated difficulties through right actions. And then through inconvenience, growth is promoted. So I just want to say, it's really all in these runes to kind of chill through the week. No hasty decisions. Don't get too impatient. Things, as I like to say, the drums are beating, even if we're not hearing the drums beat, okay? I made a couple of notes when Joe Biden, when Nicole Wallace interviewed Joe Biden on her show last week. I thought it was a really good interview. And just a couple of things that he said that popped out at me regarding the DOJ, what the DOJ hasn't done, that it's taken a long time. He just said flat out, it is not my role. Joe Biden, it is not my role to interview with the DOJ, and I have not made one phone call, had one conversation. He was very clear about that. I totally believe him. Now, a while back, I think when Joe first became president, he brought in a whole team of constitutional scholars. And he was wanting to know, should he expand the Supreme Court? And all these scholars advised him not to. Now, that was a while back, and he listened to them. Joe said, this SCOTUS is different. He used the word different. It certainly is. I'd like to say corrupt, but different is, that's his word. And he said it would politicize SCOTUS further. Now, there's arguments about this. There's both sides of the fences that SCOTUS is already politicized, okay? And I'm going to talk about just some of the dreadful things they're doing. Not all of SCOTUS, not all of SCOTUS. Justice Sotomayor wrote a scathing indictment of SCOTUS, what they did last week in affirmative action. And Joe said that before he decided to run, he was teaching, and I don't know where he was teaching, maybe it was Delaware, I'm not sure, a nearby state, and he saw the KKK in action, and he felt that he couldn't sit by. And then he was completely appalled and disgusted by Donald Trump, the Charleston incident where Donald Trump said, oh, there's very good people on both sides, which is BS. I'm being nice. And also that, if we just talk about Putin for a minute, Joe said that Putin thought that he could easily split the Western countries' solidarity, and he didn't, and he hasn't. And the invasion by Russia of Ukraine is the most significant invasion since World War II. And this is why he's working so hard with NATO, bringing in other countries to protect us and our solidarity, the people that we have solidarity with. I just went to this today. Let me see if I can give you, I know you like Pete. He's taking a little nap. Love that guy. I just went to this question. It was just burning at me. I'm just going to throw this out and see what the runes do. And I said it out loud. Will Joe Biden win the presidency in 24? Boom. That was the question. My hand went in the bag, blah, blah, blah. And I got yes. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right out. The first rune I got was partnership, which has no reverse. It's just positive, the partnership, okay? I got joy. None of these are reversed. Upright. And harvest, which is a harvest is coming in 1 year. Harvest is a rune that always speaks of 1 year. So I didn't even like type out all the explanations, and I went, oh my God, partnership, joy, harvest. I'm going with it. I'm going with it. Even if we hear bad news, whatever the propaganda, and it's heavy, the propaganda. This made me feel good. It's kind of like the weekly reading, which was like kind of wonky. And so it tells me the week is going to be a little wonky. There might not be any big news, just a continuation. And this is just as clear. See, that's the energy. It's good. Then I asked, I thought, well, I'm going to do this. Will Kamala Harris become the next president? And that would be after Joe Biden. Whether he serves an entire term, or he has to leave, or something else. Which I'm not feeling is imminent, by the way, my left ear. So I got opening in the reversed position for Kamala. And it says, expect a darkening of the light in some situation or relationship. And that could have to do with a darkening of the relationship she has with Joe Biden. It could. I don't want you to really take me literally here, but it could, okay? This rune points to a death of a way of being that is no longer valid, must face up or miss an opportunity. Says, do not be seduced by momentum and pressure. She shouldn't be. And the new will become illuminated for her in proper time. Then I got joy reversed. And it says, things are slow in coming to fruition for her. The process of birth is long and arduous, but there's birth again. A crisis, a difficult passage, even if brief, is at hand. But then the last rune I got about Kamala is partnership. And partnership is just damn good, okay? It's just one of those runes. It's just damn good. So it says a partnership in some form is at hand. Now, if she does become president, then she has to have a vice president. That could be the indication of the partnership rune. And it says you are put on notice not to collapse yourself into that partnership. And it also says the path of a partnership may also lead you to a union with the divine. And that to me has several. It's a kind of a union with Joe Biden, whether he's here on the planet or not, or a union with a new partner in the White House. But it's divine. The rune is the gift of freedom from which flow all other gifts. Now, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna throw this again, but it was kind of something I just wanted to throw out there this morning and see what came up. But I'm gonna. This is a long way off. I just wanted to see what the energy is. I'm very encouraged by partnership at the end of this reading. You know, she gets a lot of shade. She gets a lot of criticism. You know, I have friends that are not that crazy about her, and I don't argue. I go, you know, that's okay. I have a different point of view, but I don't like to get into it and try to convince anybody, because when I hear somebody that sort of doesn't like her, has complaints, I'm not going to change their mind, okay? So there we have. All right, now we come into the Supreme Court voted down affirmative action, which has been in place for, I didn't look how many years, but many, 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 many years. And it gives some help to minorities, women, maybe people with disabilities to get into colleges and get educated. So I copied this, all right? Affirmative action is a program of positive action undertaken with the conviction and effort to overcome the present effects of past practices. So to overcome the present effects of past discrimination and difficulty getting into college. Policies are barriers to equal employment opportunity and to achieve the full and fair participation of these individuals. Now, the positive on this, because people are crushed. Look, and I think some colleges and schools are still going to follow affirmative action. I don't think the government can do much about it. But this is saying you don't have to anymore. But our youngsters, they're youngsters to me, even though they can vote, Gen Z, and then LGBT and women will become very engaged in the next election due to these losses. I did get a note from someone weeks ago when I was talking about abortion and choice. I have always liked to use the word choice, but this person said, no, it's not choice, it's privacy, it's privacy. So I'm using privacy because he's not wrong, and I'm adding privacy to it. It's just a hell of a situation. But, you know, I went to, this is like going to sound like a side note, but it's not. I got invited to see Stephen Sondheim's musical Into the Woods out here at the Amundsen Theater in Los Angeles, and I didn't feel good. I was still on the antibiotics, but I slept all day and I got dressed and I went because it was a great opportunity. And there was a quote that just jumped out at me. And this would be the brilliance of Stephen Sondheim. And it made me think of how crushing this SCOTUS ruling was about affirmative action. So from Into the Woods, this is the quote: "The greater the good, the harder the blow." It just jumped, I wrote it down. It just applies to this thing about affirmative action. It was so good. And we're feeling the blow from it. The greater the good, the harder the blow. Thank you, Stephen Sondheim. All right, so here's some, not giant, but it's interesting. It has to do with people talking to the grand jury for Jack Smith. And oh my God, this man is superhuman. Someone told me, I can't verify it, that he has lawyers now working 24/7 in teams, like all night long, just 24/7. A new team comes in. And so that's why a lot of stuff is getting done. So a Donald Trump campaign advisor named Susie Wiles is one of the unauthorized people that was shown classified document by the former president. Now, she is also co-chair of Mercury Public Affairs, which has, in recent years, received millions of dollars from Chinese companies. Whoa. Previously, she worked for on the governor's campaign for Desantis in Florida, 2018. Rumor is she left because Casey DeSantis was a nightmare. I can't verify that, but I've heard it a couple of times. And this Susie Wiles was singled out as one of the people to whom Trump revealed sensitive documents. She was in the room when he was just totally revealing, which was last week's big news, that he was just incriminating himself, showing the documents, saying that they were highly classified, that he was no longer president and he couldn't classify. I mean, it was just amazing how he just sunk himself. But she was in the room, and this was where people were laughing at this crazy thing of him having top secret material. It's just nuts. So according to a report that a representative of his political action committee, which is Susie, is listed in in Jack Smith's 37 plus. I mean, these indictments may go up, to 80, because he keeps adding. He keeps hauling people in front of the grand jury, and people are flipping, or we hope they're telling the truth. If they're not, they will get into big trouble, and Jack will know. His team will know. So Susie visited Trump at the Bedminster Golf Club when he was showing these documents. So she's going to have to testify, and she's still going to work on his campaign. Now, like what? I can't quite figure that out. He's going to want to know the questions they asked her. She's not supposed to discuss it. Now, people who know her say that she won't get in trouble. She will refuse to lie for Trump, is what I'm trying to say. She's going to play it straight, but for the time being, she's still working for him. And so I'm just going to read to you a quote. Susie could put Trump away for years in just 1 minute of testimony to Jack Smith. And this was said by a rival GOP operative. He went on to say, I have to be careful here, she's got Trump by the B, ends with S, which means she can name her price for her loyalty and Trump can't say no. But let me just stop right there. She's not going to extort Donald Trump. She's going to tell the truth. She does not want to go to jail. She's older. She's a veteran. She's not going to do it. So whoever said that, delete. She's not going to do it. I mean, Trump may offer her money on his own. She's not going to do it. She's not going to perjure herself. So this is what I'm telling you. There's one more flipper. There's a lot of flippers. A guy named Mike Roman, another top official in Trump's 2020 campaign, who was a key part in the fake elector scheme, to overturn the results in favor of the former president. But now he's cooperating, and he's cooperating with something, what do I have here? With the proffer agreement, which you probably heard about with Rudy Giuliani, the proffer agreement, which means he can share information with investigators on an understanding that the statements will not be used against him in future criminal proceedings. So he's pretty safe. That's what it looks like to me. All right, so this wacky thing happened with SCOTUS this week. It's almost difficult to describe it. All right, let me just read this. The plaintiff is a Christian web designer she committed perjury to get her case heard by the Supreme Court. She claimed that a gay couple wanted to hire her to create a wedding website for the couple. It was not true. She named the Colorado male, but he doesn't know her. He is a web designer. He's never heard of her. Nobody's ever heard of him. But she wanted to know from the Supreme Court, could she refuse a gay couple? Could she refuse making them a website? And the Supreme Court said, yeah, you can refuse it, but it's not a legitimate, it wasn't a legitimate case. So nobody's figured this out yet. I mean, nobody's figured the outcome of this, but it's a very embarrassing thing for the Supreme Court. We don't know what they knew. We don't know whether they were like trying to slide one in there. Now, Lawrence Tribe, very famous law professor, Harvard, wrote, so it seems this case was trumped up in more ways than one. It was a phony controversy, cooked up just to pitch a curveball that only a Trump-stacked court would have swung at. And then Michael Steele, who's former chairman of the RNC and who's on MSNBC all the time now, just said, there was no case. There was no LGBTQ person ever asked her to make that cake. So we'll keep an eye on it, but it's just another thing that makes SCOTUS look so bad. And the inference is everybody can say no to everybody. You don't like the way I look? I can't come into your restaurant or your tavern. I'm wearing a yarmulke. You don't serve Jews. It's Pandora's box. We just have to wait and see. And that might have been part of the weekly runes too, about patience, slow, blah, blah, blah. So please keep that in mind. Now this is, you might have heard about it. It's very distasteful, but I got to bring it up because I actually started to write an article about it a long time ago. And I started to collect photographs that supported the article, which I have in my laptop. But Miles Taylor, who was on staff in the White House, he was the guy that wrote all these anonymous articles in the New York Times, and nobody knew who was writing, to say what's really going on the inside. Well, you know, he's out of the GOP. He's a very intelligent contributor at MSNBC, but he wrote a new book. And the book is called Blowback, A Warning to Save Democracy for the Next Trump Candidate. And in the book, he said, and now other people have said the same thing, that Trump openly, verbally sexualized Ivanka to the staff. He talked about her body. He talked about her breasts. He talked about her hips, her butt, and her legs, and that, you know, what he'd like to do if she wasn't his daughter. And allegedly, General Kelly, who was his chief of staff, actually said to him, sir, that's your daughter you're talking about. And Kelly calls 45 a very evil man. Just gonna, my left ear, for those who've never seen me, I will get information through my left ear. It happens pretty fast. And something came through that reminds me a lot of married couples when they get older and they die. And there's a lot of, a lot's been written about oftentimes one spouse will pass soon after the first spouse passes. It's kind of a phenomenon. There have been situations of spouses dying like in the same hour, within 24 hours, or within a month. And so I have this, my left ear suggested that Donald Trump and Putin will expire within weeks or a month of each other, like very close, just like married couples. And I can't shake it, so I'm sharing it with you. I didn't do runes on it. I'm just sharing that this came through, and it wouldn't surprise me. It just wouldn't surprise me. All right. So this is not a quote. This is just a mantra that I heard from a tarot reader that you might want to use. I think it's a good one. It says, I am calm and sane in the midst of chaos. I am calm and sane in the midst of chaos. I don't know if you need it, but I need it. Okay. And then just a quirky little fun story. I got an extension on my taxes, and I finished them, put them in the brown envelope, labeled my address, my phone number, and then I talked to my accountant because she's working remotely, and I said, you want me to drop this off at reception at your office, which I'd done in the past? And she goes, yeah. And so I went up the 3rd floor to this building right near me, and opens up on the reception. Very nice woman. Hi, what can I do for you? I said, well, I'm with the tax pros, and here's my taxes, and I'm leaving it. And she looked at it and she said, oh, this envelope looks so great. I mean, you put their whole address and their names on it, and then you put your name and your phone number. Nobody does this. You just made my life so much easier. And I went, are you serious? Nobody does that? That's like so basic. She goes, you wouldn't believe it. They'll just dump off a pile of papers on my desk. And she literally got excited. This is so great. I wish everybody does it. I was like, okay, you're welcome. I just got in the elevator. I thought, that is hilarious. That something that is so normal. Well, I was an executive assistant in my life for many years. So I know how to label things, make things, you know, nice and neat and easily found and returned and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I got into the elevator and I thought, well, I guess I was her good evidence today, you know, because she just lit up. It was cute. And she goes, I have a wonderful week. I mean, she was just like in love with me for delivering this nice, neat envelope. You know, that's really minor, but my God, it lit her up. So, and no, I didn't talk about good evidence with her. So now that I finished, I'll just share a couple of things with you. I found this hat, which I think it was not expensive, but I want to find a white Panama hat like this. So that's why I'm wearing this hat today, because I found it and it was misshapen, but I think I got it back in shape. So I keep looking at hats. Now, one of these days I'm going to show up and we'll see what's going on in there. I've got some gray hair going on, but it's been really fun not blow drying my hair, styling my hair, just washing it and putting conditioner on it, and it's kind of liberating so much. So part of me is like really enjoying this, and it's a time saver too. So that's that, and I owe you a Patreon, but you know, I was under the weather last week with this E. coli bacteria. I mean, I can't even believe it. I finished the antibiotics, and I think I let this thing go on for a while because I didn't know what was going on with me. So they finally took a culture, and it was Ebola, and I'm off the meds, and I'm still feeling a little bit tired, but much, much better. So thank you. And I'll be back in the next day or two with a Patreon to my Patreon people. I'm aware I owe you, and I'll come up with something juicy, okay? So have a safe 4th of July. I really like watching fireworks myself. I can actually see fireworks from my balcony at Universal Studios. Swear to God, I've got a 2nd story balcony. I just go out there and I see Harry Potter and all these. It's so much fun. I don't have to leave my place, and I'll take Petey out there, and I'll give you one more look at Petey. He's chilling. He's glad I'm around. There he is. Hey, boy. Hey, Petey, you want to say hi? No? He said no. Okay. I know what he means when he says no. All right, my friends. I'll talk to you soon. Be safe. make peace, make good memories, and rack up some good evidence, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.